Shalom Akyam. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem HaKadosh. I'd like to proceed this lesson with giving double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who do real well and teach well, man. You know, this is in transit. I'm right here with the brother Salakia, with the brother Hezekiah, the Yuma, Arizona camp. And, you know, this is just, driving talk through the spirit, man. I got this precept pulled up. It's the book of Ephesians chapter 5, verse 15 through 16, and it reads, "See then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil." You know, and this was just on my spirit, man. You know, we got to make sure we're walking, you know, circumspectly, examining ourselves daily, you know, making sure what may be hindering us in our walk with the spirit, with its truth, man. You know, in the spirit, man. You know, being able to discern what's good for your health and what's bad for your health, man. You know, because, hey, we're here in this wicked society, man. You know, America, which is Babylon, man. And it means confusion, man. You know, everywhere we look, it's confusion, man. We got, you know, me and the brothers just brought it out of that camp, you know, dudes with dudes, girls with girls. You know, we got these elites, you know, popping kids, man. It's wicked out here, man. You know, we got these elites doing rituals, you know, to get that, you know, to get their Kool-Aid juice, man. You know, the elites, you know, the banking families that rule the earth, man, are, you know, are doing their witchcraft still, man. They have these people under their you know, their spells, you want to say, man. These people are still blinded by different belief systems, man. You know, here in America, you know, we got the women, man. Let me get that precept, man. It's the book of Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 22, and it reads, "How long wilt thou go about, O backsliding daughter? For the Lord Yahweh hath created a new thing in the earth. A woman shall compass a man." And we're seeing that now, man. You know, these women that have careers, you know, these nurses, you know, these lawyers, you know, and so forth. You know, these women that have, you know, so-called high degrees, you know, high earning paid jobs. You know, they look down on the Jake men, man. You know, starting with the head tribe Judah, man. You know, hey, but the Lord is going to establish, you know, his you know, his ranks coming soon, man. You know, because we got these Eves, you know, these so-called black women, you know, being with the so-called white man, man. You know, being with the oppressor, man. Being with the serpent, the devil himself, man. You know, we just seen a woman got killed by Edomite out there in Africa or something, man. Hey, but that's what she gets, man. You know, the apostles and elders say that too, man. That's what that bitch gets. You know? But we got to see and walk circumspectly what times we're in, man. And it's for you you women in the truth too, man. You know, you few faithful sisters, man. You know, this is mainly for the brothers, though, man. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 13, verse 20, and it reads, "He that walketh with wise men shall be wise, but a companion of fools shall be destroyed," man. You know? Hey, we got to make sure who we're, you know, socializing with and what benefit it's doing to our, you know, to our spirit ultimately, man. Hey, Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12, "For we know that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, man, but against principalities." You know, you never know what type of demons these people have attached to them, man, and what they may do around you. You know? This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 27, verse 17. "Iron sharpeneth iron, so a man sharpeneth the countenance of his friend," man. You know, and that's why the brothers are here to talk to, man. The brothers in the faith is who we should be breaking bread with, man. You know, expounding on the precepts, the dark sayings of this Bible, man, which the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai has blessed us with, man. Blessed are your eyes for they see, and your ears for they hear. You know, he blessed us. And we thank the Lord that it's not a stumbling block, man, because a lot of jakes will hear this and be like, "Damn, man, people gonna die by thermonuclear destruction. You know, my family's not gonna make it because they're Christians, this and so." you know, these type of things are stumbling block to Jakes, man. Because, hey, what do the scriptures say, man? Let me get it real quick. All right, let's see right here. There's a book of Hebrews chapter 4, verse 12, and it reads, "For the word of the Most High is quick and powerful and sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even to dividing asunder of soul and spirit." You know, it cuts people's soul, man, spirit. You know, it convicts you of what you're doing wrong, man, to get right, man. You know, if so, it speaks to you in that way, man, then the Lord's dealing with you. Get your mind, spirit, and soul right, man. Mind, body, and soul, man. You know, as the brothers, you know, we got the apostles and elders and the brothers in GMS, they got a motto, man. You know, it's pray, study, sleep, gym, man. No, gym, sleep, man. You know, forgot what order exactly, but you know, it's basic principles. But we must, you know, live a simple life, Jay. You know, and speaking of myself first and foremost, man. Hebrews chapter 4, verse 12 from the beginning. "For the word of the Most High is quick and powerful, and sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even to the dividing asunder of soul and spirit, and of the joints and marrow, and is a discerner of the thoughts and intents of the heart," man. Exactly, man. And is a discerner of the thoughts and intents of the heart, man. It exposes your flesh, man, your faults. You know, we just reached our our destination. You know, so I hope this lesson was edifying. This lesson was edifying to the elect, man. I'd like to give all praises to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahushua, by Hashem.